Sorry, I'm being rude and eating raisins.
Then stop eating raisins.
Do raisins make you go poo?
Why are you asking me that? I own an online marketing agency that specializes in pay-per-click advertising, and this is my co-host.
I'm Beverley Theresa. I'm a social media consultant based in Edmonton. I help businesses through training, workshops, consulting, coaching, whatever you want to call it, step up their game on social media. I do everything.
Okay, and today we're talking about Pinterest.
Yes! Are you excited, Ameet?
Kind of, because Quinny Bear over there needs to get started.
Right.
The one social media platform I don't want to touch.
Really? I actually really enjoy browsing Pinterest myself because, I don't know, it's fun to get ideas and to find new things.
It's a bit dangerous. I get into this rabbit hole and everything just goes to shit.
Well, Ameet, did you know that Pinterest is actually considered a search engine versus social media platform now?
No, I had no idea.
Because people are like, they use it. So they have intent already to buy something. So it's really great if you have a product or like a specific service that you're selling. Pinterest is great for that, or they use it for like DIY, like how-tos and things like that. So that's really cool, right? I love Pinterest. Should I just get started?
You seem like so weird.
It's because I'm wearing these stupid-ass headphones.
I never forced you to do that.
I know, but last time people couldn't listen properly or hear properly. Okay, so I'm going to start. So with Pinterest, it's really important that if you're going to be pinning things from your own website, make sure you validate your website with Pinterest. If you don't know how to do it, just Google it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it.
Why is it important to validate your website, though?
Because then you can get stats on traffic and like impressions from your own tweets and how many clicks and things like that. And if you don't validate it, then you don't get that information.
Okay.
And then,
No, sorry, I was going to ask, speaking of websites, how do you make it, like, friendly for Pinterest, then?
Right, Ameet? Oh, my goodness. You're just, like, on my level.
Looking at me like that.
Okay, so your website is probably like the most important piece because you can have Pinterest. You can be pinning things from your website, but if you don't have Pinterest-sized images or it's not Pinterest-friendly, there's not really a point. I mean, people will still probably click on things, but you'll find more success if you actually size your thumbnails or have an image size. So for my website and a lot of other people, we have the social media-friendly featured image, which is horizontal, but with Pinterest, you'll notice that everything that's posted is vertical. So I have it written down. The minimum size of your images should be 736 by 1102 pixels, 1102 pixels. And so that will make sure that it's a very nice little vertical image that will fit in with Pinterest, but also stand out because it is Pinterest size. Also adding share buttons is really important. Like if you go back, I haven't done it recently on my blog posts, but with older blog posts, I actually have a vertical sized image and then I have a thing that says pin this for later. And yeah, it's just kind of like, hey, remember, like the call to action is pin this for later or pin this or whatever. And yeah, and then I used to have the Pinterest board streaming on my website, but I haven't added it back yet. But there's all these different ways you can incorporate Pinterest and make it friendly to and make your website friendly for it.
Okay, not bad. And then in terms of like those images, like what's the best way to create them, I guess?
So I guess like I read the stat, lighter images are repinned 20 times more than dark images, and I was like, shit, because all of my images are dark images. So So I'm actually going through and redoing those images or finding someone else to do it for me. But clear, like high quality images are best. But like if you don't have a photo or something like that you want to include or that matches your blog post, have really big type on it and make it really easy to read as like readable. But readable is not a word. Readable? I don't know.
Readability.
For readability purposes, make sure that the colors contrast so that the words stand out. Images without faces get 23% more repins as well. So if you hide faces in your pins, they might be more successful than if they did have faces.
Interesting.
Legible. Thanks, Quinn. Nothing like
I don't pay you to talk. I pay you to listen.
Mansplaining to us. And then like just using like really simple, not overly complicated images as well. But make sure that you have, like, one of the biggest things I hear from like people who specialize in Pinterest is making sure that the typography is really strong and it's really legible when someone's just scrolling through their Pinterest feed.
Okay. So not like Comic. Well, Comic Sans is technically legible.
Yeah, why don't you try that?
No.
I'm silent. I was like, oh, I hope she doesn't think I froze. And then thinking about, like, if Pinterest is used as a search engine, incorporating some search engine optimization, like keywords and things like that, into the description, into the title, into the image file name even, which you should technically have done on your own website as well for SEO. Like, your image file name should have some sort of keyword in it. But just making sure that you put in a description for each pin and kind of show them like what they can expect when they click that link. And you'll notice also if you're repinning something, make sure you actually go look at the frickin' website that it's linking to, because a lot of places will have like fake pins. So it'll be like an image of repinning or an image of something completely different than where you're going as a landing page. I don't know what Pinterest is doing to fight that, but it's really freaking annoying because I get like super stoked to learn about something and then I'm like, oh. Yeah, but if you have a product or service, like it's perfect for Pinterest just because, like I said in the beginning, people are using it to search for ideas or to search for products to buy or information. So if they're like how to use AdWords or AdWords glossary, you can like be like, oh my god, I can download a glossary from ameetkhabra.com. And then like if you had that pinned, it's like, here's a total glossary. And then you don't want to necessarily say in your description or in the photo that you have to like give us your email to download it. But you can say like XYZ number of terms that the ultimate PPC glossary or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Or I just can't think right now. You know, just like the ultimate PPC glossary, learn all the things. And then like they would click it and then you would give them like a little sample taste on a blog post or something and then like want the whole glossary, blah, blah, blah.
Good idea.
Yeah, steal it, Quinn.
Yeah, straight up.
And then there's also something that's called rich pins, which automatically pulls in your metadata. So kind of like how Facebook is like uses the open graph data, it'll use the same. I just threw my sandal far away. It'll use the same kind of fetching tool to get that information, and it like will provide extra info. That's why they call it a rich pin instead of a poor pin, which is, I don't think that's what they call it, but yeah.
Okay, what about in terms of like scheduling or not scheduling, like frequency?
Oh my god! So you have to post at least once a day, and like Neil Patel, my lover, says you should post 5 to 30 new pins a day. And that's not hard if you have a whole bunch of different boards. When I was using Tailwind and Buffer Hardcore for scheduling out posts, I would schedule out like 10 to 20 posts a day. And that was like when I was going hard because I was like, oh, into Pinterest and I'm going to use Pinterest. And then, I go through waves.
So what were you doing on Pinterest for yourself?
So I would do a mixture of my own pins or like my own blog pins, but also like I'll have a social media board and then I'll find social media posts to pin to that social media board that aren't by me. So I'd be mixing in their content with my content.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also ways that you can automate it. Like there used to be this thing called Board Booster, and that's what I used in the beginning. And then I was like, oh shit, like this tool sucks. But it's gone now. But it basically, like you could pin all these things to a hidden board. And then what Board Booster would do was go in and pin those, like your saved pins in that hidden board. They pin it at specific times. So it's kind of like you curated all the content and it automatically will go out. You can give it, you could have gave it specific keywords and things like that, and it will fetch posts about it. But then I figured out like a lot of my posts were like recipes and food things. And it's like, this has nothing to do with social media, but because they probably had it in a keyword or something, then they repinned it. But right now, like one of the best tools for Pinterest is called Tailwind, and they have like basically a really good free plan, and I think you can post up to 500 pins a month or something like that. But even their subscription plan isn't very much. And what I just got like this person that I used to work with to upload all of my Pinterest images to my blog posts, and then I got her to go through in Tailwind and schedule out my blog posts and other people's blog posts to be shared on the different boards at different times a day. And they actually have time slots of recommended times. And speaking of recommended times, Social Fresh recommends 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the best time, but then HubSpot says nighttime from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Also, if you think about who your audience is, if it's like, I don't know, marketing managers or something, they're probably at work and they're probably working. So they're like, I find that Pinterest isn't checked that much while people are at work. It's more of like a leisurely thing in the evening or on the weekends. Lots of people say they have lots of success pinning things on Sundays because there's nothing else to do on a Sunday but go on the computer, apparently. I don't know how true that is. But yeah, so Social Fresh says 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and HubSpot says 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Time. What I would do, I would just test out those times and see if there's different activity happening with those. And then with Buffer, you need to use I believe the Pro plan and up, so it doesn't have it on the free plan, but Buffer has really good scheduling for Pinterest as well. I really like Buffer, so if you like Tailwind is specifically, I think they also do Instagram posts and things like that, but I use Tailwind specifically just for Pinterest. And then looking at analytics can help. So once your website is validated and you're sharing pins from your own website, it will show you the impressions, so how many times someone saw that pin, how many times someone clicked it, and if people shared it or repinned it to their own board, it will show you there. Does that make sense? And it's surprising that actually a large amount of males use Pinterest. So people are always like, oh, isn't Pinterest like moms and stuff? I forget what percentage it is. But there's actually a high number of males on it. Obviously, there's more women, but males are still using it. Like, you can find, like, stereotypical male things on there, like barbecue recipes and things like that. But also, like, men's fashion and, like, the top categories by gender. I just have this list that I stole from Neil Patel's website. The top categories for females is food. And then males is also food, which is really weird. Yeah. Is that right, Ameet? Are you looking at the same thing as me?
I am.
It looks like food is the most popular category for both.
Food is the most popular category for both, and then it goes to
DIY crafts for women. And then
for dudes it would be like other stuff, so that doesn't technically count. But then it's design, art. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really fascinating because it's just like, okay, I imagine that it's good for food and DIY, but there's also like the fashion aspect to it. And there's like tons of resources if you're trying to learn something as well. So I recommend checking out Pinterest for your business. And I think lots of home builders use Pinterest as well. I don't know how well I would say that they use it, but they do use it. Lots of like furniture companies and things like that as well. And I feel like Pinterest hasn't been saturated yet, like all the other platforms like Facebook and Instagram, where it's just saturated with just like ads and paid sponsors, posts and things like that. Like it's not that obnoxious yet. So I would take advantage of it like right now. As well as, well, this is off topic, but as well as LinkedIn, because there's no super annoying algorithm like there is on Facebook, on LinkedIn.
Okay, fair enough.
Does anyone have questions? Or do you have any questions? I talked really fast.
I feel like Quinn should be asking the questions because he started Pinterest, and I've been asking him for like a month.
Right. So Quinn, you should use Tailwind to schedule out her posts on Pinterest, her pins. And then you can also join tribes, and Tailwind actually has tribes within it. So it's just like Pinterest board groups where someone has, like let's say there's a social media board and there's a bunch of people who can post to it. So I can post my own links or my own pins to my own website in those tribes or the board groups. And then people who follow that board will see my pins in addition to someone else's. There's also where you pin one post and then it tells people like, hey, you pin one post and they pin one back for you, etc., etc.
Okay.
So it's like pin for pin, or like follow for follow, but pin per pin. It's almost like a broadcasting tool, but also you have to be careful because you're also should be sharing content from other places. So if someone goes to your board, it's not all just like your pins with your images, it's a mixture of it, or else people won't follow it. But for me, a big thing that I did at the beginning was I created Pinterest board covers. So each of my boards has its own cover, and that was a thing that also started getting me more followers on my boards as well, just because it looked prettier and it was more organized. Matt is asking, does it have a good ad platform with advanced targeting? Would ads be worth it? I've never placed an ad on Pinterest, to be honest. I hear that
more popular though, off of the PPC chats that I'm in and stuff like that. A lot of people are starting to shift into Pinterest now.
That's good. Yeah, so then you should do it now before everyone saturates it with their stupid ads.
Hey.
But
don't be mean.
Also make sure that, like, if you're doing an ad, that your image is sized for Pinterest, please. Because I saw an ad, like, a while ago, and it was just, like, this horizontal POS. And I was like, what is this? Like, who got paid to make this ad? I think if anything, like if you're interested in getting on Pinterest, at least use it for personal use and see, so you can learn how the users use it as well. Like before, I never considered talking about social media on Pinterest just because it was like part of my own thing where I just wanted to like pin fashion and stuff. And then I started realizing how much traffic it can actually get to your website. So yeah, just like use it personally and see how people use it.
Oh, wait, somebody asked a question. Sorry, hold on. Do you think we should be moving in this direction with the lack of engagement with FB?
Depends on your audience. Not the answer you want, but it depends on who your audience is. And depends on like what you're trying to accomplish. It's really good if you sell a product or service online. In-person type things, it might be hard to market like just to Edmontonians unless you're doing paid. I'm eating raisins. So it depends on your audience. So let's just wrap it up here, folks. Thank you so much for joining us, learning about Pinterest. You can watch replays of our Marketing Beat episodes on YouTube, uploaded every Tuesday. Most of the time, they're uploaded by noon. Sometimes I'm lazy and I do it later, but they will be up on every Tuesday unless I remember or forget to save it, which Ameet would like to bring up.
I was not going to bring it up. I totally forgot.
Oh, okay. We meet here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Next week, we're going to be talking about PPC for
NPOs, nonprofit organizations.
Right. So join us next week. If you have any questions about Pinterest or social media, slide into my DMs. If you have PPC questions, slide into Ameet's DMs. It's very moist in there.
Also, comment on the porn right there.
What is that?
It's porn. My parents have kept it there my entire life.
We're going to get demonetized on YouTube when we post this. We're not even monetized.
I'm actually trying to cover it.
Thank you for joining us, though, and we'll see you next week talking about PPC for NGOs.
MPO.
And NPOs. What's an NGO? Non-global organization.
Sign up for my PPC glossary.
AmeetKhabra.com.
Thanks. Okay, bye.
Bye.